Hello, computer science students. Welcome into our Introductory to Assembly Programming video. We'll be talking about terminal commands, we'll be talking about our first assembly program, how to compile it and run it, and evaluate what's happening as we run our program. So a lot to cover today. We're going to start by diving into making a folder. We've talked about how to log into your machines. Once you have logged into your machines, you can type ls and see what folders you have. Yours may be empty here. Let's just make a directory, or at least I recommend that you make a directory for examples or example programs. So mkdir is make directory, and that should create a directory for you. Now I'm going to move into my videos directory because that's what I'm using to record the videos here. But if you went into your examples directory, you could help we could go over creating these programs. So how do we change directories? CD is change directory. I'm going to change to videos. You can change to examples. One shortcut I just used here is I typed CD and then I put a space and a V and then I hit tab. Since I have only one directory with V in it, the tab filled in the rest of the directory name. Saves you from typing sometimes. You can see that my videos folder is empty, like your examples folder will likely be. Okay, so there's some basic terminal commands. As a note, if you ever need to go back a directory, you can do cd ... That will change directory to your parent directory. I'll go back into the videos folder here. Just wanted to make sure you could navigate a little bit. And now we'll jump into creating our program. So I'm going to type clear just to clear off my screen. As a note, your commands are still there. If you scroll up, you'll be able to see all your commands, but this allows you to have kind of a clear screen here. So when we program in assembly, we're going to use, at least I'm going to encourage you to use the Nano Editor. There are others, but I think Nano is a good one to use here. And so we'll call this prog1, and then .s means we're in an assembly program. So if you do nano space prog1.s, you'll be opening this file called program1, or prog1. Will be at the very top, it'll be blank, and at the bottom, you'll see some commands that you have available to you. You can get help, write out, where is, cut, uncut, justify, curve pause. So all these things are commands in the Nano Editor, which all rely on pressing Control and then a letter. Now it's possible on a Mac that sometimes Control doesn't work, and if that's the case, you can hit Escape twice and then type the letter. So if you type escape X, that would exit the program. That's always a backup plan if you have trouble with Control working on a Mac, which most of the time it does, but some students have had trouble with that in the past. So escape should always work. All right, so let's start. So all of our programs that we write in assembly, we're going to start with a comment. And so I'll kind of set us up here. It's a / to start a block comment. I like to put stars at the start of each line just to indicate that this is part of a block comment, though that is not necessary. And then the block comment ends with a star and a /. And so we'll usually leave a note like prog1.s is the name of our program. This is a sample program that returns 42. We'll talk about what all that means in a second, and then your name. So the comment at the top is always the name of your file, a description of what the file does, and then your name. So this is a good way to start all of our programs. All right, the next thing that we're always going to do is do .syntax unified. This allows us to do some of the syntax tricks that we're able to do later. You really don't need to know a lot of the details. Other than that, you should start every one of our programs with this so that we can write the rest of it the way we'd like to. And then .global, and we'll do _start. So we always like to make a label called start at the start of our programs. It's just a good habit to get into. And so .global space _start says that start is going to be a global label. That means we can access it and use it globally. Again, the details are not critical, but we'll skip through that and jump straight down to our label. So what is a label? A label is any text that you create with a colon after it at the start of our assembly program here. And so _start is just a good way to start off all of our programs. All right, so the next thing we want to do is actually dive into our program a little bit. And so to do that, we will use one of the most basic commands, which is move. This moves a value into a register. So we give it a register number. As a refresher, we do have access to registers R0 through R10. And by convention, R0 is the return value of a program. So I'll show you what the implication of that is in a little bit, but the long story short is if I ever ask you to return a value in a program, you want to save that value in R0, register 0. So in this case, we're just going to return the number 42. So we move 42 into R0. We have a block comment up above with / and star. You can also do inline comments with an @. So this might be a good way to comment what you're doing in this line. And maybe if you really wanted to add some more detail, you could say R0 is the return register. And so this is all a comment, so it will be ignored. And then that's it. So our program's done, right? Except that we also need to make sure we exit our program. So we're responsible for that. And so we're going to do move into register 7, the value 1. So again, this is R7 equals 1. R7 is used is referenced when closing or exiting. I guess I should say exiting when exiting a program. 1 means exit with integer return value. So this will return with this means that we're returning an integer at the end of our program, and then we use a system interrupt SWI 0. This kills our program and ends it. So this is our program. This is about as simple as it gets. We return a value in register 0, and we exit our program. So this is basically a program that just says return 42 in assembly, about as simple as we can get. So I hit escape X, and if I do, you'll see that at the bottom it'll ask you if you'd like to save your file, and certainly typing Y is a good response there, Y for yes. And then it asks you what file name to write to, and so prog1.s makes sense, so I'm going to hit enter. Alright, now if I hit ls, I see prog1.s exists. Alright, well great, we have our program. How do we run it and test it? Well, the first thing we need to do is assemble it. So we use an AS command to assemble. -O means we want to assemble using an object file. So let's call this prog1.o, and we're going to assemble it using prog1.s. So we've now assembled prog1 as an object file, and then we want to link it, let's call it into an executable. Let's call it prog1. And so we use the object file to link into our executable file. If we look at our file structure now, we have a prog1.s, prog1.o, and a prog1, which is highlighted in green because it is executable. So let's do ./prog1. This means run the executable program1. Nothing shows up because we didn't have any print statements or anything of that nature, but there is still a way to check if the program worked by checking the return value. So there's a command called echo, which will repeat the last thing sent out. If you do $?, it will return it will echo the value that we returned. So in this case, 42. And so that is the result of our program. That's what we saved in register 0. And so basically what we've done is echo out the value stored in register 0. And so that's the basics for running our program. So if there are any questions, please let me know in class, but otherwise we should be done here. See you guys next time.